Your wait is over, Saber. As promised, I've come to claim you. You know, his last outfit was kind of gaudy, and this one sort of is too, but like, it just works. Honestly, the man in gold. The unidentified heroic spirit who annihilated Castor's bone soldiers and even took out Castor with barely any effort. Now that monster stands in front of us. He's so close. We're at exactly the right distance to begin slashing at each other at any moment. Death looms right in front of us, even more than when we faced Berserker. What's wrong, Saber? I've come all this way to get you. You know, it is improper to simply remain quiet. Or do you intend to play a bit before you admit you are mine? My king of knights. Sorry, not king of kings, that's Persian emperors. My apologies. Or, I guess also Jesus Christ, potentially, right? That's one of the many names he's referred to as. But I think the term actually originates with Persian emperors because of the way they structured their empire, more kind of decentralized, where the local king of the region would retain his title and stuff and just have to swear fealty to the Persian emperor, who therefore was the king above the kings, therefore king of kings. Anyway, Archer stifles a laugh. He's not even looking at me. Saber is his only focus. He admires her like she's a piece of art. Saber's demeanor changes. She must have made up her mind. She's already determined the man in front of us is an enemy. Well, I've hardly moved a muscle. Shiro, I'll do everything I can to block his first attack. Please take that opportunity to retreat. Okay, hear me out for a second. Technically, he's not part of this Grail War, right? Like, do we have to fight him? I mean, I'm not denying he seems like a bad dude. But also, is he relevant to our current predicament? I'm not certain he is. I know it will be difficult, but I can only do so much against a servant like him. I can hear the apology in her voice for not being able to do more. Even someone as powerful as Saber can only block his first attack. My chances of getting away from this guy are slim at best. Saber is asking me to forgive her for what is about to happen. She probably knows there's no way for her to defeat the man in gold. I can't let her do that. This is different than when we fought Berserker. I know, though I don't have proof, that making Saber fight the servant can only end badly. Actually, I do have proof. I know from seeing his noble phantasm last night. Saber can't beat him right now. This is not a matter of her skills as a knight. It's not even the right way to look at this. No heroic spirit, so long as they remain a heroic spirit, can beat the man in gold. No, you're the one who's going to run, Saber. What, Shiro? I cover Saber and face Archer. Oh, I see you have a master. His shabby appearance led me to think he was no more than a lowly dog. He smiles cheerfully. He raises an arm and lazily snaps his fingers. I feel sick. I need to leave right now or I'm dead. There's no rhyme or reason. I just know instinctively that this guy will kill me for standing in front of him like this. Go, Saber! We're near the church. The priest there should be able to shelter you, even from him. Press X to doubt on that one. I push Saber away and start running, trying to escape the death I can only hope isn't inevitable. There's no plan here. This is just like when I was going out on a date. No plan. Just vibes. I'm just going to risk it all and run straight at this guy. Then I'm going to project Saber's sword again, just like when we fought Berserker. Okay, well, that didn't exactly work. When was our last choice? Like, I feel like it was like 5-6 hours ago? Maybe? Maybe longer? I'm blown back. What just happened? The moment he snapped his fingers, something appeared right beside me. Oh! It's a giant hammer! It knocks me aside like a piece of trash, and I slam hard into the ground. I can't move. My body is completely useless. Like all my bones have turned to jelly. I've lost all sensation in my limbs. Pain is so dull, I can't even tell if I'm still alive. I will not kill you. If I destroy you now, Saber will disappear. As much as I hate to, I will keep you alive until the Holy Grail is summoned. The man laughs. I try to push myself up, but my body won't listen. Do not let it go to your head, mongrel. There are ways to allow a servant to remain in this world without you. This is just the path of least resistance. If you make so much as another peep, though, I will kill you. And then my mind goes blank. He will kill me. If I make even a single move, he will do just what he said he would. I can't possibly move after that kind of warning. Saber tries to run toward me. Where do you think you're going? There are no more obstacles between us. There's not this piece of trash you should be running to. The man in gold won't allow it. He stands in front of me and waits for Saber to reach me. Saber stops and glares at him. The two stand about 10 meters apart. I don't know about Archer, but Saber can close that distance in a heartbeat. Huh. Seems you're not willing to come at me yet. I can't fathom why. So great a heroic spirit as you should realize what a singular honor it is to be chosen by me. What drivel? Even if I become a heroic spirit, I am still king. I never submit to you. Oh, a king you may be, but you are still a woman. A woman's greatest happiness is to bow before her lord, to serve and devote herself to him. Why then would you ever refuse to do so? Surely you are not so naive a maiden that you are afraid to be my woman, are you? Sheesh. Thought we were fighting Archer, not Andrew Tate. Why you? Don't be so angry. I do not only take, I will return to you equal joy when you are mine. I will give you everything in the world. You should be honored, for I have deemed you worthy. The man moves. He extends both arms and approaches Saber as if in a welcoming embrace. Yes, you need never become a guardian, nor return to your fated death. I will say this only once more. Saber, accept that you are mine. Let us enjoy our second lives here, together. I refuse. I have no interest in such things. More importantly, I can never ever live alongside you, no matter what may happen. Saber looks straight at Archer as she speaks. Sorry. She stands firm, not taking so much as a step back. His laughter suddenly stops. I'm not sure what he found so funny in the first place. Good, good. That's the spunk I expect from a woman I choose. Ah, yes, it might be amusing to have at least one who isn't so obedient. Wait, at least one? You aren't like collecting women, are you? That... I refer to my previous joke. Alright, by force then. Once I've obtained the Grail, I'll pour its contents all over you. That didn't... I don't think that's an innuendo. Or who knows, maybe it is. Rejoice, Saber! Once I've done that, you won't need a master. You will be taking in all the power of the omnipotent vessel, the Holy Grail. You will no longer have to live as a servant, serving humans as their familiar. He's so damn smug. To that... Archer, what are your intentions? She must have realized that the only option is to fight him. And before she engages with the enemy, she wants to know why he does what he does. My intentions. I've forgotten. Unfortunately for me, I already possess all the world's riches. There is nothing left for me to wish for. What? You do not seek the Holy Grail? The Holy Grail? Oh, you mean immortality. I gave that to a snake. What? You gave immortality to a snake? I don't follow. Saber freezes. What just happened? Saber subtly shakes her head to refute those words. But this world is certainly amusing. The basic principles remain the same. The adornments are so elaborate now, though. Maybe ruling the world once again wouldn't be so bad. Yes, I suppose you could say that is my intent. And if it allows me to accomplish that faster, the Holy Grail's power may not be so useless. It's a hint to his identity. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Unfortunately, I don't know who gave immortality to a snake, so... I'm still kind of lost. The desire to dominate, then. You have fallen from grace, Archer. I don't think that is what would drive you to seek the Holy Grail. It's not a matter of my desiring it. All the world's riches belong to me. I can't abide others making use of what is mine. You would hate for another to use your sacred sword, wouldn't you, King of Knights? Pale mist shrouds Saber. Oh, Saber has entered combat mode. Then in a flash, she is wearing her brilliant silver armor. Ah, he doesn't move a muscle. In the next instant, Saber dashes forward. In the space of a single breath, she rushes straight at the man and swings her invisible sword at him with deadly speed. Oh. Saber goes flying backwards. If Saber's armor materialized by magical energy, Archer's must be the same. In the brief space of their rapid exchange, the man in gold arms himself. Saber looks calmly at Archer as she readies her sword. Even as his eyes meet hers, his sneer remains. Very well. I will allow you to oppose me, Saber. The enemy happily announces the beginning of battle. Whoa. A white light bursts in the air between them. Saber's sword, shrouded in a bolt of lightning, cleaves directly toward the Golden Knights. 1, 2, 3, 4 strikes. Each time Saber's sword strikes, blinding light flashes from the contact. Watching her repeated attacks is like staring at a strobe light. It's just like when I first saw Saber that night when she fought Lancer. Saber channels her excess magical energy into her sword and strikes with such speed and precision that she all but becomes a lightning bolt. The clang of sword against armor echoes through the air. Archer hasn't even drawn his weapon yet as Saber's sword strikes at him. He barely manages to defend his head with both hands. Well, he's fighting barehanded. Sheesh. He simply doesn't have the skill to block Saber's attacks. Saber's skill with a sword is vastly superior to his. On top of that, her sword is invisible. Even if Archer draws his weapon, he won't be able to defend against that invisible blade. It strikes his armor relentlessly. The sword hits the armor, chipping away at it and sending sparks showering in all directions. The only thing the man can do is ward Saber's blows from his face with his hands. This isn't a fight. It's a massacre. But, in spite of the fury of Saber's attacks, Archer's armor remains intact. If he is still unscathed even after such a savage assault, that golden armor must be his, noble phantasm. Huh. I suppose I can't allow this to continue. You certainly do have a limitless supply of magical energy. It's not often an attack can make my armor begin to creak. Archer raises his arm, but not towards Saber. I have no idea what he's trying to do, but Archer just stretches his arm up into the empty night sky. Enough playing around. Offer your body to me. Right now. Am I hallucinating? Is this an illusion? He has something in his hand. It's a short sword, shaped like a key? Oh my goodness! He's Sora! How could I not see it before? Of course. Ignore the copyright issues. Yeah. Saber plants both feet, unleashing a much more powerful attack against Archer. But Archer bats it aside with his dark red sword. Is now a good time to mention that I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, and therefore I don't know what his weakness is necessarily going to be. Is that a noble phantasm imbued with a curse of vengeance? Saber puts some distance between herself and Archer, glaring at his sword. The Yanu wielding such a weapon is a threat, no question. But it also means he's showing his hand. Whether his noble phantasm is armor or a sword, we'll be able to figure out how to deal with it as long as we can see it. Saber readjusts her stance. Archer's already said his armor is at its limit. If Saber can go back on the offensive with the same fury as before, she should be able to cut through his armor. Even if he pulls out his noble phantasm now, the next blow will decide the match. It's the end. Let us conclude our match that was interrupted all that time ago, Archer. The sword in her hand is still invisible. She readies her sacred sword, still bound up in swirling wind, and faces her enemy. Saber seems to know what that noble phantasm is. She put that distance between them because she knows how to deal with it. She's readying herself to face Archer directly. Each of them wields a sword, and if their powers are equal, then it is a matter of the wielder's skill. And that should mean Saber will win. Very well. Come at me, Saber. In recognition of that sword of yours, I shall show you everything I have. The man laughs. Fine. Saber charges without hesitation. Her sword will cleave through his armor. The very instant I think that... What is that? That was a new transition. Babylon, eh? Okay, that narrows it down a bit. Gates of Babylon. An invisible door opens behind the man. What? Saber jerks to one side. Archer holds something else in his hand now. Not the black and red sword. It's an invisible sword like Saber's. Is his ability to... Does his Noble Phantasm let him copy other Noble Phantasms? Is that how he had all... That's tough. That's tough. By the time Saber deflects it, Archer has already has a different sword. So Babylon though, that's Mesopotamia, that's that region. So if we're talking like the Babylonians obviously, but also like Syrians, who was before the Babylonians? I forget. But if we're thinking of notable figures and characters, I mean the ones that I know of off the top of my head would be either like there's King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. There's also Gilgamesh, which might actually be more likely. I mean, he's actually, Epic of Gilgamesh would fit. Because I'm noticing most of these heroic spirits are more on the mythological side of things than the historical side, so Gilgamesh actually would probably make the most sense, honestly. Anyways, his swords strike at her in a merciless rain of ice shards. Saber twists away to dodge, but the air around her becomes almost solid with flying blades. She's driven back as the blades close in on her from all sides. As the shards clinging to Saber vanish, her enemy holds a deadly-looking weapon that resembles the Grim Reaper's scythe. There's also Gilgamesh's friend. What was it, Enkidu? Though I don't think I'm not sure if that really matches up, though. Saber blocks the weapon, arcing for her neck with the gauntlets. But it's useless. The scythe shears through her gauntlet like it's made of tissue paper and begins to drain her magical energy. It's as if it's trying to pull out her bones rather than her blood or flesh. Ew. Saber stumbles, but she manages to keep it together. So this whole encounter, though, it's making me think, is the personification of death a heroic spirit? Because that would be kind of cool. If there's a spin-off where that's a thing, tell me. I want to see it. But her retreat takes on a different note. She's not distancing herself to prepare for her next attack. Karen at the very least must be one, right? She's desperately fleeing the enemy. That can't be. Saber glares at Archer as she passes magical energy through her numbed arm. A halo of hilts floats around Archer. Those are the swords that slaughtered Castor. His noble phantasm. Now it's backing Saber into a corner. Personification of pestilence. Okay, I mean, that's close. They also have war and... Oh, what's the other one? It's not disease. Is it? Well, is it plague, pestilence, war, and death? I forget what the horsemen of the apocalypse are, but... Even I, looking on from the distance, can't believe what I'm seeing. I remember, like, two of the apocalypses, or horsemen, are, like, kinda overlap. I think it's... But is famine one of them? Famine might be one of them. Because pestilence... What is pestilence? Pestilence is sort of disease, isn't it? But... I don't know. Not 10, not 20. I can't see them all, but I can tell there's no end to them. They're all from different times and places. That servant has all the divine mysteries that have ever been mentioned in various legends and lore. Archer, who are you? Saber's voice trembles. No servant would ever reveal their true name just because someone asks. But Archer's noble phantasm is so bizarre, Saber couldn't help but ask. Answer me, Archer. Heroic spirit should only have one noble phantasm. Some may have multiple noble phantasms, but two is usually the limit. Well, I'm trying to think, though. So, like, what would the justice... Like, if he is Gilgamesh, I kind of see a justification here, because Gilgamesh is our oldest surviving, like, narrative, right? So maybe that's... Because with the discussion of Heracles, there was, like, this sort of implication, like, you know, older and further back you go, the more powerful they get, because they're, you know, from the era of, like, gods and myth and legend. And I guess Gilgamesh would be the upper maximum of that. Why that gives him, like, all the phantasms, I don't know, necessarily. But, you know, maybe it's, you know, oldest written account means he gets credit for writing stories down, period, and therefore has access to all of them? I don't know. A heroic spirit with an endless supply of noble phantasms like you should not exist. Should not exist. Now, Saber, do not rush to judgments. Heroic spirits make the weapons they use during their life into noble phantasms. So it's quite simple. All these noble phantasms are things I collected while I was alive. Oh, hold on a moment. Wait a minute. Epic of Gilgamesh is all about him. It's his quest for immortality, right? He got immortality. So he had a lot of time on his hands to master a lot of weapons. Is that what's going on here? Oh, yikes. Although technically I thought he didn't get immortality. I thought that was like the whole point of the epic, but I guess creative liberties, creative license. The King Arthur story, as recorded, isn't quite exactly how it's recorded here, so... Are you mocking me, Archer? That is even more absurd. Now, who you are, there's no way you can carry the noble phantasms unique to other heroic spirits. No such heroic spirit exists. Saber's right. All the noble phantasms he has are real. There are demonic swords from Northern Europe and even from South America. No hero ever made a name for themselves in so many regions. Besides, Lancer should be the only one with Gabolg. Heroic spirits have their favorite weapon they use during their life as their noble phantasm. Based on that rule, the only one who could have Gabolg is Chulain. But Archer isn't Chulain. And that means his spear can't be Gabolg, but the thing is, it definitely is the real Gabolg. If those noble phantasms were all fake, that would explain it, but they're real, so that's just... No, wait. Could they all be originals? The weapons... prototypes? That seems impossible, but then again... Wait, you're saying that CH is pronounced like... Why is it a CH then? It might be possible. Legend and myth don't spring up from nothing. Plenty of myths share commonalities because someone or something served as the model for them. Legends which get to the point of becoming the basis of worship usually only take root in the lands where they are said to take place. That's one of the reasons demonic swords or sacred swords reveal their true abilities in the lands they come from. So let's say there's something from before even that. What if various noble phantasms in mythology existed before they were known and named? Ah, your master's not entirely useless. He seems to have a notion of who I am. Saber turns to face me. She's so far away. I can't help her from so far away. I finally gotten to the point where I can move, even if it's still difficult. See, the issue is I'm not really up to date on my snakes in mythology knowledge, right? I mean, I know you got like Medusa, who's like half snake. Obviously you got the snake from the biblical tradition in the Garden of Eden. You got the one snake in Norse mythology, I forget what it's called, like Niflheim or something, maybe? Or maybe that's something else in Norse mythology. There's this like snake that's like makes up like some of the 9 realms, I think. And that's all I know about snakes in mythology. Like, I'm not actually aware in particular if there's a snake from Mesopotamian mythology. Anyways, I finally got to the point where I can move, even if it's still difficult. Run, Saber. The noble phantasms are... You're saying they're all real, right? Indeed, it really is simple, Saber. Let me tell you of the earliest days of Earth, when the world was still one. The single nation prospered and its king collected so many treasures. Until there was nothing left for him to collect. He lacked nothing. He possessed the perfect treasure, but he never used the weapons within it. The king carried them with him into eternal slumber. That's all there is to it. After the king's death, the contents of the treasure were scattered around the world. Each was valued for being a truly exceptional weapon. So in time, they came to be treated as noble noble phantasms. So this whole, like... Okay, and granted, maybe this is my... obviously I'm in Western society, so I have more of a, at least, background in osmosis understanding of, like, the, Judeo-Christian tradition. But this is reminding me somewhat of the story of the Tower of Babel, in this idea of, like, all humanity under one nation, and then it gets scattered. So maybe that's what they're alluding to here. Now that is a distinct tradition from the Epic of Gilgamesh, I think. I'm not sure if that... I don't think those two are particularly, like, considered by scholars to be, like, particularly, like, related to each other, but I could be wrong about that. I haven't looked deeply into the subject. Do you understand now, King of Knights? The noble phantasms you servants use? They are nothing more than the king's own possessions. It's like an inheritance. As long as you trace an object's history, a base or prototype will always exist. It only makes sense that every legend, every myth, or noble phantasm passed down in each country has an original. Far enough back into the past, if one person collected all those prototypes, they could possess every noble phantasm. And that could only be one hero. A hero from the oldest of legends. Far older than the legend of King Arthur or Heracles. The tyrant who ruled ancient Mesopotamia. A king who was half god, half human, who collected all the world's treasures and who eventually sought eternal youth. Gilgamesh, the most ancient king of heroes. Saber sounds like she's trying to keep the fear from her voice. Gilgamesh relishes her reaction. Oh, new servant data added. Well, I guess we gotta look at that. New archer. True name, Gilgamesh. He's chaotic good, though. Part man, part god, he is a king who ruled Uruk, a city-state of Sumeria before the Common Era. A ruler not just of legend, but who is also believed to have actually existed, he is written about in one of mankind's oldest epic poems, the Epic of Gilgamesh. A 2/3 divine and 1/3 human... Is that possible? Anyways, a 2/3 divine and 1/3 human demigod, he is peerless, a peerless sovereign of the world, and a supreme being who has obtained everything in existence. Initially, he was a tyrant who thought little of his citizens, but his behavior gradually changed after befriending Enkidu. Enkidu was a divine creation made by the goddess Aruru. By the way, I'm gonna try, but I'm not an expert on pronunciation of Mesopotamian myth and folklore. Anyways, the goddess Aruru in response to the prayers of the people suffering under Gilgamesh's oppressive rule. Enkidu and Gilgamesh were destined to meet, and they affected one another greatly. At first, Gilgamesh feared and viewed Enkidu as an enemy, but the two soon formed a mutual bond, and later worked as equals to govern the nation. The two of them also defeated the guardian of the forest, the divine beast Humbaba, and Gilgamesh would eventually go on to be known as the greatest king on earth, taking possession of every fortune known to man. At this point, Gilgamesh was a dazzling and powerful being that even the gods could not ignore. A goddess fell in love with Gilgamesh. The goddess of fertility Ishtar proposed marriage to the perfect king, but Gilgamesh bluntly refused the goddess's proposal. He did so because he knew Ishtar was a capricious and brutal witch who ruined men's lives. An angry Ishtar claimed Gilgamesh insulted her, and she sent her father, Anu's bowl of heaven, to earth as retaliation. The unleashing of this unbeatable divine beast caused 7 years of famine and destruction. Gilgamesh and Enkidu worked together to confront the bowl of heaven and successfully defeated it, further tarnishing the goddess's reputation. Ishtar's anger could not be quelled, so the goddess asked the gods for death of either Gilgamesh or Enkidu. Reasoning that a human killing a divine beast is a punishable sin, Ishtar's wishes were heard, and Enkidu slowly wasted away until they died, and as they were a creation of the gods, it unable to resist their orders. This was the start of Gilgamesh's downfall. He was shocked to find that his friend, the only one who could match him in power, was just as capable of death. Gilgamesh was haunted by the fear of his doom, and so he set out on a journey to the underworld in search of immortality. After an arduous trek, Gilgamesh obtained the elixir of immortality. However, as he bathed en route home, a snake drank the elixir, and Gilgamesh was left to die in despair. It is said that snakes are reborn into a new body each time they shed their skin because one drank Gilgamesh's elixir. So it's one of those like mythology-isms of like, this happened back in the past, and therefore that is why birds have wings. Humanity's oldest king of heroes, Gilgamesh, tells of his clash with the gods, his journey to seek immortality, and a great flood over the world. Everything in his epic poem, or epic, I don't know why I put the word poem in there, became the archetype and basis for all mythology. Very Joseph Campbell here. His name may not be as recognizable as Arthur or Heracles, but this comparatively nameless figure is the oldest hero king. His overwhelming power truly makes him the strongest heroic spirit. Huh. Okay. Look at the skills. Oh, skills, right. Sorry, I was so absorbed in the lore, I forgot we had gameplay. Magic resistance E. That seems pretty bad. Protection against Magecraft. It cannot nullify Magecraft, but it simply reduces damage of a certain value. Independent action A+, a skill that allows movement even without a master. Charisma A+, the ability to command and lead large armies. With this amount of charisma, it is closer to Magecraft or a curse rather than a skill, representing high esteem. Divinity B, A. Well, what is it? B or A+? He has the highest aptitude for being a divine spirit, but because he hates the gods, it has been ranked down. Okay, gotcha. Noble Phantasm, Treasury of the King. Rank E through A++. It's anti-personnel, at least, I guess. A key-shaped sword that connects to the Golden Capital. It bridges space and allows the user to freely take any treasure from the vault. Though it need not be said, the more treasures that are gathered, the greater the power of this Noble Phantasm. Yeah, that follows. Indeed, I am the strongest rogue spirit, and should you fight me, you will find you are no match for me. There's nothing else to discuss. All that's left now is for him to use his endless noble phantasms to annihilate his enemy. Oh, even knowing my name, you still intend to oppose me. You must understand you can't possibly win. I will know nothing of the sword until I try. You may be the king of heroes, but there must be something that even you cannot surpass. The air around Saber wavers. Oh. The wind envelops her as it picks up, becoming a whirlwind to protect her. As it does, her golden sword is revealed. No, Saber! I don't believe this. Is Saber intended to use Excalibur? He looks kind of perturbed. Gilgamesh stops. He must know how powerful Saber's sacred sword is, because his self-assured composure falters. Saber glances towards me briefly, but her focus is on Gilgamesh now. Is she telling me to run away while I have the opportunity? Gilgamesh's back is to the river. While Saber is over here with me, this positioning must be the result of our shuffling around earlier. Before I realize what's happening, Saber is facing Gilgamesh, protecting me. Nukas? Oh man, I wonder if Harry Truman was a heroic spirit, do you think his noble phantasm would be the atom bomb? Like, it's gotta be, right? Because he was the president when we nuked Japan, yeah? Now that's something I want to see. That happens in a Fates spin-off? Tell me about it. I need to see that. Wait. Mordred is best girl? I thought Mordred was a guy. Am I mistaken about that? Granted, I thought King Arthur was a guy, so maybe I just don't know my stuff when it comes to Arthurian myth. As before I realize what's happening, Saber is facing Gilgamesh, protecting me. No presidents of heroic spirits? Dang. Not even Washington? He basically is like a pseudo-mythological figure at this point with all the kind of legends and stories surrounding him. No, you can't. Not here. I try to force myself to move. With all the strength I can muster in my numbed body, all I can manage is lifting a single arm. I use every bit of magical energy in my body to use that arm to push myself up. What? See, this is the problem with you Fate fans. Every time you, like, bring up something as, like, an answer, it just raises more questions. What the heck does that even mean? Come on! I've lost all sensation, but every bone in my body creaks as I begin moving. The pain is a warning. My body is coming apart at the seams, and if I move, that'll be it. I push myself to my feet, ignoring the warning. I try to endure the pain. I don't have time for this. What I need to do is get to my feet as fast as I can and protect Saber. I have a really, really bad feeling about this. It's the same premonition I felt when I faced Gilgamesh myself. We can't beat him, no matter what. My instincts keep telling me that. I just can't let Saber fight him. Huh. The famed sacred sword. Very well. The swirling wind has become a raging vortex. Even in the face of that dazzling sword, Gilgamesh is unintimidated. On top of that, I suppose I should select... No. I suppose I should select a weapon well suited to oppose it. Okay, so she's coming out with a sword, so we're gonna get a lance, yeah? He drew... Oh, okay. Guess we're not doing fire and weapon triangle. Fine. He draws a strange sword from the gate behind him. It says the guy whose like favorite fire emblem game is the one that doesn't have the weapon triangle. Yeah. That's where my premonition came from. The sword he has now doesn't exist in any legend. I can identify every one of the noble phantasms floating behind him, but I have no idea about that sword. Alright, everyone, really, Shiro? Come on, you don't need to lie when you're bragging. Look, you don't know what every single mythological weapon looks like, Shiro. I don't believe that. See, of all the things that have happened in this game, that's what I take the most umbrage with. That is what I find most unbelievable. I possess the originals of all the noble phantasms, but they are all nameless. They're also not the only weapons I possess. The sword itself is cylindrical, which you'd think would disqualify it from being a sword, because you kind of need an edge, but whatever. It consists of 3 segments, each rotating in different directions. It looks like a drill capable of piercing a solid bedrock. This is different, though. Only the King of Heroes may wield this sword. It has no name, so I simply call it EA Sports. It's in the game. So all you want is to compare the strength of our noble phantasms? Light flashes off their weapons. The 2 of them are still about 10 meters apart. Gilgamesh can't possibly avoid her attacks from that distance. Yes, there's no need to hold back now. I always wanted to go up against the sword they say is strongest. His laughter echoes in the space between them. Saber must have taken that as a provocation. Very well. Then defend yourself against my sword if you can. Saber moves. Her lips form the sword's true name. There's nowhere to run now. The noble phantasm, released when its wielder speaks its name, strikes mercilessly at Gilgamesh. It's time. Awaken, yeah. The cylindrical sword roars. In response to Gilgamesh's words, the 3 segments whirl faster. If Saber's Excalibur summons a whirlwind by driving wind away, Gilgamesh's, creates a gale by drawing in wind. But Saber is more experienced with handling her anti-fortress noble phantasm. It's faster than, Saber pours as much magical energy as she possibly can into her weapon in seconds, igniting its massive power. She doesn't hesitate. Saber unleashes the might of a sacred sword so powerful it could split a river in 2. At the same moment, Enuma Elish. little known cousin of Billie Eilish. A light of matching intensity flares to meet Excalibur's attack. Well then. Oh! The impact is tremendous. Like, literally, tremendous. Raging winds tear trees from the ground. The colliding lights are like an exploding sun blinding me. No! I'm on the verge of being carried off by the wind. I cling to the ground with my one functioning arm. It's all I can do to weather the storm of wind, light, and heat. How long will this go on? Their overwhelming attacks so powerful, I fear they might split the world in two, but then... It suddenly ends, with Saber surrounded by white lights. Okay, Huh. So there's no way I survived that. Well, actually, I do have... A crash breaks the unexpected silence. Something thuds into the ground beside me. Saber. I know what it is. Even half blind, I couldn't mistake what I'm seeing. Oh no. She looks dead.